Alright, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the passing game here. So now what we got is we're going to talk about coverage responsibilities. So how we're going to work this is our corner is going to be responsible for number one, the widest receiver, who's our flanker. He's going to cover him man to man. And because there's nobody free and deep in the middle, this is cover zero. That's why it's called white. It's just the kind of code word for that. White means cover zero. That means there's nobody free and deep. And everybody's playing man to man, specifically taking away the inside. The reason why we take away the inside on all routes is that there's no help for us in the middle of the field. So if a guy beats you in the middle of the field and you're not inside shade, it's a direct window for the quarterback to throw the ball to him and an easy completion. So we always got to protect the inside. So this corner is going to line up 5 yards deep and 1 yard inside of this wide receiver. His job is to cover this guy man-to-man on all releases. Our next guy, our outside linebacker, is going to be responsible for the number 2 receiver, who in this case is the tight end. So he's going to cover this guy man-to-man once he reads pass. Our next inside linebacker is going to be responsible for the back that comes out to his side, or if this guy ends up lining up wide, he would be responsible to cover the inside of that number 3 receiver. Okay? And the reason why we call it number 3, number 1, all those things isn't because what it says here on the field, but it's just that we number from the outside in. So this guy's on the outside. He's the first guy outside, so he's number 1. The second guy outside is number 2, and then the third receiver would be number 3. So this guy has number 3. Coming on this side, this guy is the outside player, and the corner's not on his side, so that means he has the number 1 receiver, the nearest receiver. And right now, the number 1 receiver on the line of scrimmage is this tight end. So he's going to cover him inside shade and man-to-man. This next inside linebacker, the Zach, has the next player, the number 2 receiver, 1, 2. Okay? Once this guy releases on a pass, the Zach's got to cover him man-to-man. Okay? So it looks just like this. These guys are coming up to the line of scrimmage. The ball is snapped. These guys are running their routes. And this is exactly the path that these guys are going to take. You see that the Zach is covering number 3. The Sam is covering the tight end. The Will is covering the tight end. The Mac go ahead and went with that back. And the corner covered that wide receiver. Okay, so it finishes like this. Everybody is with their man and they're inside shade, making the throw to the from the quarterback to the receiver really hard, okay, to complete, so that we can either get an interception or a knockdown. Okay, we'll show that again, and then we'll talk about the defensive linemen. Okay, so these guys are all covering their responsibilities just like that. Now, for the defensive linemen, these guys' job, the rush and the end, once they read pass, is to beat these guys on the outside. And then once they get to quarterback depth, they have to collapse the pocket. They're going to try and tackle the quarterback here. And we're all going to work together. So he's trying to collapse the pocket from the outside. He's trying to collapse the pocket from the outside. And then our 2 interior defensive linemen are going to maintain their rush lanes, come up through their gaps. And their job is, once the quarterback steps up, because these ends have beaten their outside guys, then these guys should make the sack. Okay? So it'll just look like this when these guys come off the ball. The ends are coming outside, and the tackles are coming right through their rush lanes. Right? All right. I want to show you some different formations. Now let's say this guy lined up way out over here. Okay? This guy lined up way out over here. Now, because I told you the corner is responsible for number 1, what he would do is he would change his alignment to play outside this way. Because I told you that the Will is responsible for number 2, the Will would have to change his alignment and cover this receiver man-to-man wherever he went. Because the running back's in the backfield and there is no number 3 receiver out, the Mac could stay exactly where he is. But if this guy lined up wider, then the Mac would have to line up wider because he's got the number 3 receiver. Okay? Same thing on this side. Because there's a tight end that's split out, now we have a number 1 receiver on this side and On this side we have a wide out. There's no corner to help you out, so now you got to widen, and this Sam's going to play this guy man-to-man. And because the Zach is responsible for this number 3 back, he can stay where he's at because he's in the backfield. But if this guy moved outside wide, we'd have to have this guy play outside as well. Okay? So you got to know who you're responsible for. If there is a corner on your side and you're playing Sam, you just got to take a look behind you to see if there's any help. If there's help, then this corner can play that tight end man-to-man, and then this Sam could be responsible for the number 2 receiver. So if this guy lined up right here, the Sam would have to play number 2 receiver, and then the Zach is still responsible for number 3. So say it was this guy, then the Zach would have to widen out and play inside shade, taking away the inside. Okay, and then the Mac would move over here to where this guy is. Okay, and the tight end would have to be played by the wheel because there's no corner on his side to help him out. He covers him man-to-man. Okay, hopefully that's not too confusing. We'll go over that stuff more and more as we go.